Then we got a few quarterbacks I want to go through in a row. And I know a lot of you guys might not need quarterbacks in one QB leagues, but these guys might be better than your starter right now. Derek Carr, the highlight of this list, only 26% rostered. I think he's well worth 4 to 5. And the reason these guys are a little bit lower on the FAAB is there's 3 of them that you can get. So I would say a general strategy for this week's waiver wire is I'm not blowing my load on really anyone other than, of course, those first 6 names I highlighted at the top. If one of them fell, Rondale Moore, maybe Cordarrelle Patterson if I really need an injection of playmaking upside. Like my fantasy team's the Falcons, for example, and they need playmaking upside. If my situation mirrors that, maybe I'll go below some. Similarly, I'm kind of just going to wake up early at 5 a.m. and see who's out there and just kind of scoop the remains is most likely my strategy this week. That's why I wouldn't blow my load to go get Derek Carr because there's 3 other guys I really like at QB. But that being said, the guy now has the 7th most passing yards of all time across the first 2 games. 382, over 400 in week 1. Just slinging it. You don't know how or why. The weapons aren't great outside of Darren Waller, but they're going deep. They're showing more aggressiveness. It seems like it's finally this Gruden and Carr marriage is coming to fruition. Now, another reason not to blow your load completely. There was a big ankle injury here. He played through it. He gutted it out, but they might let this guy rest given how good he's looked early on. So double check what the health status is of Derek Carr. But if you need a QB, he's a great option. Potentially a safer guy that you could plug in right away is Teddy Bridgewater, only 17% rostered. Another guy worth 4 to 5% of your budget. He's the QB 12 and fantasy. Carr, the QB 9 right now. Teddy Bridgewater, the QB 12, a QB 1. He's gone over 20 fantasy points in back-to-back starts, averaging almost 22 a game. He got 328, 2 touchdowns, even without Jerry Jeudy. And maybe the most shocking thing about Teddy Bridgewater this year is he leads the league in pass attempts over 20 yards. He's slinging. It's always been intermediate, Teddy, conservative guy, just no upside, right? Well, he's slinging it right now. He's letting Cortland Sutton go downfield and go do his thing. He's ripping it down the field to KJ Hamler, Noah Fant. He's got weapons, even without Jeudy. And then when Jeudy comes back, it's going to be even better down the stretch. He gets the Jets coming up, pretty cakewalk schedule. So I know it's not like a sexy play, but Teddy Bridgewater just very high up, like high floor, pretty good ceiling, over 20 points. Again, back-to-back weeks. Definitely a usable quarterback out there in a lot of leagues. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold, the last QB I want to go over, 15% rostered. He's the lowest upside of these guys, in my opinion, but QB 15, so he's getting it done. He's been over 19 fantasy points in back-to-back weeks. I love this Joe Brady offense. He's got Christian McCaffrey. He's dumped it off to him 13 of his 73 throws. Will always get him some nice yardage. But DJ Moore emerging as that number 1 to go deep and intermediate, looking beautiful. And then you got Robbie Anderson, 21 yards depth of target, just going down the field as a potential bomb play. And why not toss in Terrace Marshall? The weapons cabinet is very solid. Joe Brady's play calling has looked solid so far. And Darnold's looking like it was truly the Jets were the problem and not him. He's playing great games, 2-0 so far to start the year. Now you get Houston, who's 7th lowest in pressure rate right now, just not a good defense. I think they've held up decently in terms of the quarterback points per game. Their secondary is atrocious. That's because of the competition they face so far. I think ultimately, between Trevor Lawrence and Baker Mayfield playing just mediocre, they didn't need to really go crazy. I think Darnold could come out on Thursday Night Football and get you a nice 22 fantasy point performance there. So I really like him. Now, this is the guy, he's going to be in top 5 most lists. I think he's kind of the fool's gold of this week, but still, if he goes for cheap enough, worth seeing. That's Henry Ruggs. So with the good, saw 7 targets, career high. That's kind of the bad. We're going to get there in a sec. 5 catches, 113 and a TD. 61-yard bomb. Got deep on a nice ballsy call by the Raiders to kind of seal the deal. I love that. He's going to definitely have a few more bombs on the season, but my question is how regularly are those going to come, considering the fact that entering the game, his career high in targets was 5. That had happened like once in his NFL career. He's under 4 targets in almost every single game last year. Maybe this was a signal of things to come, and Ruggs obviously has the elite 99th percentile speed, could emerge as a monster. They drafted him to be their version of Tyreek Hill. I still don't trust it. I think he's going to go for more than I'd be willing to pay. As you can see, 4 to 5%. If you can get that, gets the job done, great. Stash him. See what happens. Why not? But I'm hesitant to shove my chips all in. Let me know if you guys think differently in the comments. As you guys continue on, we got about 40 comments now. Love it. Keep those things ripping, and thumbs up again. Help us get out to more people, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, retweets, shares, all that good stuff would be greatly appreciated. Speaking of deep threats, and one I actually do think I believe in, rookie KJ Osborn for the Minnesota Vikings. He's seen a 19.2% and 18.8% target share over these first 2 weeks. That's not very far off. I mean, tied Justin Jefferson in week 1 targets. That did explode to 31% in week 2 for Jefferson, right around Thielen's 21 and 21% in back-to-back weeks. Osborn's not far off. It's kind of, that injury to Irv Smith opened up a spot for a number 3 to emerge. And it's clear that that's Osborn right now. He got 91 yards and a TD on 6 targets, 5 catches in their week 2 loss. Play action bomb. He's kind of that field stretcher that's Kirk Cousins will rip it to. He's shown some comfort level with this now. He leads Minnesota. He leads these insane receivers of Thielen and Jefferson. Osborn's their leader right now with 167 yards. Mike Zimmer is continuing to use 11 personnel as their base package. Surprising. I didn't expect that. I really think this guy could be a viable flex wide receiver 3, especially in games like this week coming up against Seattle. They're going to need points. Kirk Cousins playing very well. I think worth 4 to 5% stab. You know, rather than blow 20% of your fab to go get Ruggs, go get Osborn, who I think is going to be steadier than Ruggs the rest of the year. Another guy that kind of fits that mold as well, Quintez Cephus. I should probably know how to say this by now, especially considering the guy has seen 12 targets since the 4th quarter of week 1. Nobody other than Hawkinson has seen that many on the lines. He leads the team with 3 end zone targets. He has 2 touchdowns as a result these first 2 weeks. Also can get deep. You saw it in the 46-yard bomb to start off the game, then calls in a 5-yard touchdown. Almost had a dirty one-handed TD grab. So they love him in the red zone. Yeah, Tyrell Williams was out. I don't know if this will continue if he returns and when he returns. But it's looking like Quintez Cephus is the number 1 on a team that's going to have to chuck. Goff is sneaky, the QB8 in fantasy right now. That defense blows. They're going to constantly be playing catch-up. And this might be their number 1 weapon. I think you'll get him for free. I don't think many people are on him because of the Monday night game. A lot of waiver wire articles might have skipped over him. I really like Quintez. I think he could really be a viable weapon moving forward. I saw his name pop up in the comments. I like that. I agree. And last but not least, in terms of just a streamer, you just need 1 week stopgap fill-in. I think Zach Pascal, a lock to find the end zone this week against Tennessee. He again found the end zone with 64 yards of TD on 5 catches against the Rams. A good defense, some of the best corners in the league. After scoring 2 touchdowns in week 1, the guy is an end zone magnet, and that now gives him 7 touchdowns in his last 6 games, dating back into the playoffs. Just a red zone monster. Now, of course, a lot of this ends up, depending on Carson Wentz, who has sprained both of his ankles somehow, getting sacked. Crazy. But he tied Michael Pittman in terms of snaps, 60, played them all, every snap player. He's not 91% snap player, I guess. I shouldn't over-exaggerate here, but that's very solid in my opinion. 41 routes run compared to 42 for Michael Pittman and 6 looks. Very clear-cut role, but the reason why I really like him is week 3 against Tennessee Titans, the number 1 in terms of points allowed to the wide receiver position. I'm hammering this guy scoring a touchdown this week. Would bank on that with all my fancy lines. I will roll the dice if I need a receiver 3 and toss in Zach Pascal. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.